Hobie program that we're a partner with. Bring in NVP Danielle.
Hello.
Hey.
How are you?
Good. How are y'all?
We are good. Glad to see my good friend Ryan. Ryan and I get to serve a second year together, so we've enjoyed this time working together.
Yeah, because y'all were state presidents together last year.
We were. He tried to keep us in trouble.
Me?
No.
I was just an influence. All the time.
So tell us a little bit about the Hobie program that we're partnered with through JC.
So HOBY stands for the Hugh O'Brien Youth Leadership Seminar. And I got introduced to it last year through the Georgia JCs. We worked pretty hard to build a partnership with HOBY in Georgia. And then last August, I had the pleasure of representing JCI USA at the HOBY Training Institute in Birmingham, Alabama. So I was able to learn a lot about that program and how we can be mutually beneficial as partners. So I'm going to let Ryan kind of give some updates on what's going on with HOBY this year in 2020 because things are a little different, and let him represent. He is our program manager this year.
So this year with HOBY, kind of like Danielle said, it's a little bit different. They're in the same situation that we are as an organization, not knowing what's going to happen and where this year is going to lead us. So as far as the Institute meetings, there's not been a lot of concrete dates set or anything really said. Leading into this, I had worked with Rose Santini, and we had talked about just really how we could benefit each other. And we had kind of came to the idea that we would get a state president's mailing list together for HOBY so they could effectively reach out to the states when the Institute meetings were going to be happening. That way that the state presidents could, if they had a local chapter in the area, could maybe get some representation for the JCs there, just really to talk about the JCs and what we do as an organization. And if there were any service projects going on in the area that was close to the Institute meetings, that maybe they would be able to go out and help with those as their service project for the weekend. But then with everything that's happened, again, we've been in communication back and forth, and it's just kind of up in the air right now as to when things are going to get rolling again. I mean, and it was kind of, going along with our cruise and the very, very sad day that I didn't get to see y'all. They're just really waiting to see where everything goes, but they really want us to be a part of these Institute meetings, whether it be sponsoring one, just showing up to talk about the JCs, and really just if you have a chapter that's a local and could maybe sponsor an Institute meeting, that was also discussed as well. But as far as anything just concrete, unfortunately, I don't really have any set dates that I can give you. But as soon as everything gets going again, I mean, we're going to try to push it this year because I think this will be a really good partnership. And if anybody has any questions, feel free to reach out to me because me and Rose do talk pretty frequently. And unfortunately, she wasn't able to get on tonight because she had prior engagements. But she just really wanted me to let everybody know that she really wants to see this partnership, kind of flourish this year and build off last year and just see where it goes in the future.
Yeah, so one of my big goals for the year is to make sure that the contacts in each state are aware of each other. So we want to make sure that HOBY and the state presidents from JCI know each other, that they're familiar with each other, and that they're communicating. And sometimes that's easier in some states than others, depending on how well established HOBY is in that state or how many volunteers that they need. Sometimes it's a little easier. In Georgia, it has been easy for us. In fact, last year was the first time that Georgia participated. There's 2 seminars in Georgia, and we had 6 JC members represented as speakers at the one in Atlanta. And then in the Milledgeville seminar, I was a volunteer for registration there. But one thing is everybody who volunteers with HOBY for the most part is under 40. So all of their volunteers are prime JC age, and they're eager to get involved in their community and obviously to build better leaders. So it's really a really great partnership. And what HOBY needs is men on the ground during these seminar weekends. The other option is they have clue weekends. So typically their seminars are pretty set in stone as far as the location, but they want to do more weekend seminars that are smaller and more regionally based. So for those, they call them clues and your community by bringing in families from other areas, and they're going to spend money while their kids are at the camp. And obviously the clue program itself will generate a little bit of revenue. So there are lots of opportunities for chapters and members to get involved with this. And in turn, there's lots of opportunities for us to recruit and gain more members who are wanting to create positive change in their communities. So with all that said, it's one of my favorite partnerships, and I think we don't do enough with it. So Ryan and I talked in January, and one of our big goals for this year is to make sure that the state presidents know what HOBY is, and that their boards know what HOBY is, and that we can build that bridge between HOBY in each state and then the actual state organization and chapters.
Sounded fantastic.
Couldn't get myself unmuted. So yeah, I think a lot of it is that nobody really does know about the Hobie program because we don't push it as much as we probably could or should. But when you were talking about the recruitment, even the kids that are involved in Hobie, they're at the age of almost becoming of age to be JCs, aren't they? Because aren't they between like 17?
No, this high school sophomores. But if you have junior JC's programs, they are in that age range. So for states who are trying to build that junior JC's program, you've got a whole nother outlet there that we can kind of push people into your junior JC. So I know Texas and New York are big on junior JCs, and there are other states really trying to build those programs. We're trying to do it in Georgia. So not only are you recruiting like the volunteers with HOBY, who are typically in their early 20s, but you're also, if you have junior JC's programs in your state, you can build that. If you don't, you're building an awareness of what the JCs and the junior chamber movement is in these young people. So there's lots of opportunities. It really is. There's so much potential for it, and I just don't think that we have really served that partnership out as well as we could in the past. So I'm excited about what Ryan's working on and how we are working with HOBY. Specifically, Rose Santini is one of HOBY's top regional directors, and I got to meet several others last year, and I know that Ryan will be meeting them this year. So we're just really excited about this. I hope that our states will get involved. If you're not, I know that several states are working the HOBY program. I know in Georgia this year it's all virtual, so it makes it a little bit more difficult this year. But we're looking at hosting a clue here in Georgia, just as the JCs.
So if anybody has any questions about HOBY, how do they get in touch with y'all? Or which one of them do they contact? Ryan?
Yeah, you can reach me at hobie@jciusa.org, or you can get I check that one frequently, but I also have my personal email that if anybody wants, I can send out or post somewhere. Either way, phone, text. I have my phone 98% of the time, so I'm always around it, and I'm a social media person, so you can find me on Facebook too. Put me in another WhatsApp group. It doesn't matter, you know.
Because we don't have enough WhatsApp groups. No one does.
Never.
There's always a shortage of WhatsApp groups in the JCs. All right. Well, if we have any questions, we will post your email in the comments, and we will get people in touch with you. Thanks for popping in and sharing us.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Ryan.
Bye, Ryan. All right. So now your other topic that is probably a really good one to talk about right now, because we are currently still in lockdown. Everybody's stuck in their house and they're learning a lot about themselves. And I think a lot of us are learning a lot about our mental health as well. And so you're starting a new initiative with this. So you want to explain it?
Yeah. So one of the things that I am just a huge advocate is living a more simple life in general. My last year has reinforced that for me pretty strongly, just in different life circumstances. But one of the things that I have really, or as I was running for national vice president, was that as JCs, we have so many different directions that sometimes we're pushed in. I know as state president, I had all of these different programs and just different scenarios thrown at me, and I couldn't keep up with all of them. So I'm just a huge advocate of simplifying and making it easier for the average member. So when President Justin asked me to serve as the Vice President of Partnerships, one of the things that I was really looking at is, what are our partnerships? How do they make sense as a whole? Are we distracting our members with too many partnerships in too many different directions? So one of the first things that we did, we knew that we wanted to continue our partnership with Nothing But Nets, because it's just such a huge, impactful program. I know that this year was the first year that I was able to go to DC and be at the summit, and it really was a life-changing program for me, because not only did I get to meet with my representatives, but I got to meet a lot of people in DC from around the United States. I learned a ton about malaria, because you don't realize how much that impacts, and you've probably heard it come up more now in the last month or so than you probably have in years, because of the drugs that we're using to prevent malaria have been brought up with COVID-19. So you're hearing a little bit about malaria, but we knew we wanted to continue that partnership. We knew that the things that we learned about being advocates translated into so many other areas as young leaders. And then HOBY as well. I know that is such a great partnership, and if we can just expand on it and continue growing that partnership and making it mutually beneficial, because it's not just a one-sided partnership. It benefits HOBY, and it definitely benefits us. So we wanted to continue that, and for that, it really both of those programs apply to membership and leadership development, professional growth. But we also wanted to give back. And we had a couple of programs, but no one was able to clearly define them for me. So what I wanted to do was reach out to the membership specifically. So we reached out through a survey starting in January, and we ran it through February. And we asked our membership, all of them, we sent everyone an email and asked them to complete the survey. And it had 13 topics or areas of potential partnership routes. So we ran that survey and we got the results back. It was about what I was expecting as far as the results, but it ended up being pretty substantially in favor of mental health and suicide awareness prevention. So we this weekend during our JC's Day at the Board of Directors meeting, we brought that topic to the Board of Directors and asked them to consider it. I asked for feedback. I have not gotten any, but hopefully I will. But right now, what we are doing is pursuing that direction from the partnership standpoint. So Terry Bartley out of West Virginia has agreed to chair that, and he is putting together a committee, a panel, and they are going to explore different routes that we can move in this direction. So we don't want this to just be a national project. We want it obviously to be a national project, but we want this going all the way down to the member level. Like, how can we as JCs come together and collectively make a difference in mental health awareness, suicide prevention specifically? How can we as a whole make a difference? And this can be chapter level projects, it can be state projects, individual projects, like all of us working together. How much of an impact can we make in this area? So that's kind of what I'm bringing forward. And I'm super excited about it because I think young people in general, it's so taboo in many ways, but so many young people struggle with some kind of mental illness or at least some kind of disability that they're not willing to talk about. And we want to bring that to the forefront because I think more of a struggle. And I think definitely now with COVID, we have realized how much we need each other, but also where our weaknesses are, like whether or not we struggle being at home alone, whether we need that community. So I'm excited about it. It's one of those topics where it's somber at the same time as it's exciting, because it is a struggle and there are so many people who have battles that you don't see. And we're so quick to judge just as a collective in general. We're so quick to judge why people live the way they do or what they're doing with their life. And we don't see those unseen battles that happen every day. So I'm excited about it. I'm excited about the group. We did want to make sure that everyone knows, like, if you are interested in serving on this committee, please reach out to me or Terry Bartley. My email is dfields@jciusa.org, and Miranda can throw that in the comments for you. And then you can find me on Facebook too. But we really want buy-in from everybody because it's going to be a group effort, and I think we can make a tremendous impact on just young people in general if we kind of bring this to the forefront and address it.
Yeah. So we've got Jeremy from South Carolina says 1 in 4 Americans have diagnosable mental health issues. And then Margot says everyone needs that safe space and community. Neil says he loves this idea, and Fallon just sent a cute little love emoji. So I mean, it looks like it's well received. And I personally can tell you that during this, I know a lot of my friends are struggling. I think that's why we've done so much of the virtual things. I never realized how much of, I knew that I was always a go type person anyway, but I didn't realize it until you immediately put the brakes on me and I had to do a nosedive, So it's been, you learn a lot about yourself when you're stuck in the house for 24/7. So.
Yeah, and I've been a little bit fortunate. I stay busy, not necessarily out of my house, but I just keep myself busy because I don't do well with stillness. Like, I keep myself busy intentionally. So a lot of people wonder why I'm always going, but it really does help my head. And I don't struggle with depression, but I do get funky. So I just keep myself busy. So during this time, I also work with another nonprofit, Comfort Farms, here in Milledgeville, and it's a farm agritherapy that we provide, just a therapy program through agriculture for veterans who are struggling with PTSD or traumatic brain injury. So in the midst of all of this, I have been working there, a good 20 to 30 hours a week. So I've been lucky to have that outlet. But there's a lot of people who are stuck at home, and I know it's a struggle. So just make sure that you're reaching out. All of us know at least one person. Everybody knows at least one person who they are very well aware have some sort of struggle with mental illness. So make sure that you're reaching out to those people if you know them. I just can't reiterate that enough. And I'm preaching to the choir because I need to be reaching out more too. But I just think it's so important right now for us to be thinking of others and not just ourselves. I think sometimes we become such a selfish society. And this has really forced us to slow down and really look at the bigger picture.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely true. It has forced us to slow down, and even though I don't necessarily like it, because I have run out of projects to do around my house. There's only so much cleaning you can do. I've just about taken the top layer of wax off of the floors, cleaning them so much.
Well, I started off good. We just moved into our house in December, and I'm kind of a tightwad, so I didn't pay anyone to paint. So I painted about 40% of what I've got to paint, and I got on a roll, and then things got busy with the farm and work. So I'm hoping to finish that before quarantine ends, but there's always another day.
Yeah, they're looking to start sending us back to work. I will be the last one to go back probably, but within the next couple of weeks. So that's something to look forward to. So does anybody have any questions? We've got Neil that says, "You're so right, NVP Danielle." The comments over here lag sometimes on the other side, but so I don't know exactly what you were right about, but probably anything you said. Probably the one where we don't know what other people are battling.
Yeah. Well, I'd love any feedback. Jeremy, if you're still on, we're definitely tapping you in for this committee. So be looking out for a message from Terry. But anyone who has any experience in the mental health field, especially, we would love to have you. So if you'll just give us some information about yourself so that we can pass it on. We would love for this group to be just kind of a wide range of knowledge and experience, but also I know Terry is really passionate about developing projects or projects in a box that people can use. So that's another thing that this group will be doing is putting some options together for how you can make a difference in your community or in your state. So if you have any experience or knowledge on it, we definitely want to tap into you for this group. So please reach out. And if you have any questions about how to get involved, reach out as well.
So we've got Neil was commenting on about reaching out to people. Jeremy says he's so excited for being on that committee, and NVP Margot asks, what do we need from the membership right now?
Right now, the biggest thing I need to know is that we have support from the members. So we're going to vote on this in October at the Board of Directors meeting in St. Louis. We want to go into 2021 full speed ahead. The JCs have made so many huge impacts in our world. But even in the United States, some of the programs that we've tackled, we tackled the AIDS epidemic. We've tackled, I know you've probably got a long list. There's so many different ways that we can make an impact here. So how do we do it? Like, where do we strategically work? Is it awareness? Is it through stories? Because I know one thing that I feel like just in my own life, there's not enough stories of real, and that, you think about celebrities and some of the ones that are so honest about their struggles. I know that Lady Gaga, while lupus is not a mental illness, she is very open about her battle with lupus and some of the depression that goes with that. Selena Gomez, same thing. She had lupus. She struggled with depression. I think she just got diagnosed bipolar. So, you see celebrities bringing these issues to the forefront, but you never see normal people. You never see that honesty and rawness from people because we're so afraid of being judged and we're so afraid of, not having the support. Because sometimes you can come across looking needy, right? Or the fear is that people will think you're just a needy person. So
I think a lot of it is still stigma. There's still stigma attached to it, and that dates back from when people didn't know, and instead of actually getting you help, they just, put you in a home or something, because there was a lot of people that were just struggling with simple mental illness back in the 40s, 50s, 60s. They were put in mental homes and stuff, and they didn't necessarily need that. They just needed some therapy maybe. But so there's a little bit of stigma behind it too still, and that's what needs to be changed. There's one campaign where I see break the stigma, and I think that's a really good one, because I think people are afraid because they don't want to be labeled.
Right. Yeah, so there's so many opportunities here, and we just want to move forward as a collective so that we can make the biggest impact possible. We want our membership to know, but also young people across the United States, across the world, that we care about the whole of the person, because we do. I mean, we care about our members. I know that the conversations that even we had on Saturday night on game night, like some of those conversations go deeper than I ever would have expected from people that, I don't see, but maybe once. I know that there were some people in there that I've never met before, and we were able to have these great conversations. So we want to have the conversation. We want to take this into a way that can impact our members who struggle, but also young people across the United States and the world, obviously, who struggle with these, and let them know that it's okay to admit that you have a struggle. It's okay to have the struggle. How can we help you? What help can we provide? How do we provide those outlets? So that's kind of the whole goal right now. So the biggest thing is we just need to know, do you support this? Do you want to move forward? Are you willing to take this down to the chapter level? Are you willing to take it down to the member level? Are you willing as a JC to give this your all and try to make a huge difference in this area, which is mental health and suicide awareness prevention?
I think it's a great program, or it will be a great program. And we've got, right now, we're going through some of the toughest times, so we can really bring good options to the table in designing the program. So definitely reach out to NVP Danielle or Terry. She can get you in touch with him if you don't know him. I think he's pretty much friends with everybody that's a JC too on Facebook. He's super popular in the JC world. So anything else about that program? All right. So the last time I had you on, I didn't really get to talk because that was when my internet went down, right? So
I was right last time.
Yeah, and you were kind of in the dark talking about nothing but nets. But in celebration of our 100th year anniversary, membership director Ross and I have been trying to collect 100 stories of why they JC or why you JC. So how about you telling us your JC story real quick in closing?
There's so many.
Or your why you stay. How about that?
Well, I think it changed. My life was so crazy last year. For anyone who doesn't know, our house burned down from lightning last year. So my JC story changed quite dramatically after that, because the JCs was always about me growing and learning how to be a better leader. That's why I stayed in it. That's working through my community, making a difference in my community has always been a huge passion of mine. But last year, after my house burned down, I realized really quickly, everybody reaches out when anything tragic happens, whether it's a death or, just a tragedy in general. So when you lose your house, you get all this attention. But it's the people who follow up after the immediate, right, that are your true friends and the ones that care about you. And I can't tell you how many people asked about me weekly. My state presidents just wrapped their arms around me and loved me with everything they had through all of that. So, I mean, all of them. And I could tell you stories from everyone, but Neil in Pennsylvania reached out to me weekly. He sent me a message every week, just checking on me, making sure I was okay. Jared in Illinois always kept me laughing, and I deal with tragedy through laughter anyway. So I tell bad jokes and really just off-color jokes just to get me through it. And he was always the first at bat to make fun of how don't give her another shirt. She'll burn it up. Don't do all these things. So he was always there. He also made me this like super awesome playlist on iTunes, and every song had the word fire in it. Like that. Like, I'm not a people person, and you can ask anybody. I have a very small handful of friends, and I protect that strongly because I just don't trust easily. But knowing how many people cared around the United States and even the world, I know Crispin from Canada was reaching out. All of these people were reaching out to me, and it made me know that this organization is so much more than leadership development, though it is. And I continue to learn daily how to be a stronger professional, a stronger leader. But those friendships I'm going to take with me for a lifetime. And I think just seeing that play through last year was really special and interesting.
Past President Amy said, "We didn't start the fire, Danielle did." Yeah, it is a wonderful. We have Dr. Susie Chin that says she's from Australia, and she says, "Amazing support that we have within our JCI network. Thank you for sharing your personal story."
Yeah.
But it is amazing, the network that we do have, and you've said it many a times. You and I are polar opposites because you don't people very well, and I want to meet all the people and be with all the people, and I want people all around me. So it is, but just to hear that we have the same network and the same people, and that's fine within that network too. Yeah. So, because we do have a good group of JCs. Well,
that was just awesome. The other thing that the state presidents did that kind of threw me was at the longest board of directors meeting ever last year at our annual meeting. And I was so exhausted. I was like, we got to get out of this meeting. And Marianne from South Carolina and Ryan from Tennessee were both state presidents last year with me. And they got up at the end of the meeting, and I was like, good gracious, I'm ready to go. What are y'all doing? It presented me with a new chain because I lost my state president's chain in the fire. And of course I fell apart, and I don't do that either, but it was just such a special thing that they even thought about me. And then they also gave me money to get a new safe because I lost my safe too. Yeah. So it's all of those stories that really gave a new insight into how special the JCs has been for me and the support system that I have with it. So I don't think I ever expected that.
It's neat how they do come up with these neat little surprises, and just to show you how much they do care. Because we are a family, we fuss and fight, and we get mad at each other too. But then at the end of the day, we do realize that we're a huge network and a huge family, and this is a safe zone, and these are the people that really care about you.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, I thank you for being on the show and talking about these new things. And so there's a video about the new initiative, I guess is what it's called right now. It's not really a program yet. For mental health.
Yeah, the video isn't as much about the program. It's just letting our members know, hey, we care about you. We want you taking care of yourself. Here are some resources. So there's some resources to the suicide prevention hotline. I know Mental Health America has a link on there to some different quizzes you can take to just check on your stability at the moment. And there's one other link, so I'm sorry I'm forgetting it. But we want to make sure that our members and young people around the world are taking care of themselves. So we wanted to give some online and phone-based resources for people if you are struggling to reach out to.
Perfect. Well, so look for that on the JCI USA Facebook page. And then next week we have NVP Trey coming on, and I believe Parker talking about the passport to civic leadership. So let's see, we got Tanya. Love that the JCs are promoting mental health. Yep, it's a good thing, and I'm glad that it's not a taboo issue, or that we're trying to make it not be. So, all right. Well, thank you, NVP Danielle. It was great seeing your face.
Thank you.
All right. Bye, JCI USA. We'll see you next week.